And we are going live. We're going live. I love this.
We are live.
Ryan, good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you once again. Our annual holiday extravaganza.
Whoop, 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 whoop,
Dun,
whoop.
dun, 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 dun.
Oh, it's so much fun.
I like those glasses. You should keep them on the whole time.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, no, I should totally do that.
But you don't want to. They're probably like impeding your sight.
Yeah, it's a great deal of fun, and we do have a few folks tuning in already. Gary, CompuArt, Jacob, and Samuel. Hey, thank you all so much for tuning in. Again, this is our 4th annual get-together with the holiday. I like to call this the Duzer of an active town's holiday celebration. Thank you so much for doing this each year, Ryan. It's a good opportunity for us to catch up.
Yeah, thanks. It's fun to hang out with you and other people. Hang out with all of you out there in the internet world.
Yeah. And we got some more folks tuning in. We've got Chemo coming in, as well as Livingston. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Really appreciate you doing this. We're going to be monitoring the live chat as we go through the day here. And if you end up having any questions for either of us, just let us know in the live chat there, and then we'll pull those in as well. And we've got a special guest coming in later. We're super excited to have Clarence Eckerson Jr. Santa, Santa Clarence.
That's cool too.
Yes, Clarence Eckerson with Street Films, who you know well. You've spent some time in New York City with Clarence before, so yeah, it's good.
And in Boulder.
And in Boulder. Good. Fantastic. Hey, for anybody who might be out there who's wondering who the heck this silver guy is, all shiny and festive, why don't you take an opportunity to just introduce yourself real quick? Who the heck is
chapstick first?
Yeah, put your chapstick on first. Yeah, you can tell you're in Boulder, Colorado, that low humidity.
Yeah, definitely. My name is Ryan. I'm born and raised in Boulder. I have been riding my bike all my life. I've never had a car. I'm a big bicycle advocate. I once rode a 3-speed cruiser across the United States in an effort to inspire other people to ride their bikes, and by showing them that, hey, you don't have to have the best bike in the world to do big things. And you don't have to have the best bike in the world just to go to the grocery store. So I'm a big advocate of us riding our bikes more often, or public transportation, or whatever it is. And I'm a big advocate of fun. On my YouTube channel, I travel the world. I go on bike packing adventures, and I like to highlight the best of humanity.
Yeah, I love it. And we've got Colleen Harrison also tuning in from Northern California. I know Colleen loves watching your channel as well.
Oh,
so
Colleen, thank you.
That's super fun. And in fact, let's get over to your channel right here. So this is Duzer's channel. Get out there is your tagline. It's been your tagline forever. When did you first start doing the whole get out there?
So it's kind of funny. I did the Peace Corps in Honduras. I came home. I didn't quite know what to do with myself. I saw some live auditions for the local public access show here in Boulder, and I went and pitched an outdoor adventure idea to them. They said, yeah, let's do it. And at the time, I had no idea what I was going to call the show. And, I filmed a whole episode and still didn't know if I was going to call it like Ryan's Adventure Show or whatever. And then I was like, out there, that's a good idea. It's like simple, and it just says what I want people to do. Just get out there in whatever capacity that you can. And so that's how long it's been. So I'd say since 2006 now.
Wow. Amazing. Yeah.
At the end of every episode, I'd always look into the camera and say, now get off your couch and get out there.
And what I love about that too is as a content creator, I feel this, and I know that you feel this as well, is that we want people to watch the content that we're taking the time to create and put out there. But at the same time, both of us really want to inspire people to get out and be active in their communities.
Absolutely. I just think life is better when you're outside more often.
Yeah.
We live in a world where we're inside a lot. We're inside of our homes. We're inside of our offices. We're inside of our cars. And I feel like we're losing connection to the outside world and to nature and to our communities and our neighbors. So just being outside, that's why I say get outside in whatever capacity you can. It doesn't have to be a giant adventure. It could just be like going for a little walk or climbing a tree or just something that connects you to nature for at least 15 to 30 minutes a day.
Yeah, yeah. And again, one of the things that we both comment on frequently is how wonderful it is to hear from other people who are consuming our content and they have something inspiring to say. In fact, I'm going to add this comment to our broadcast here from Kevin. Kevin in Boulder 76. And Kevin is basically saying he thinks that he's ridden his bike about 200K in Boulder in the last 45 years, commuting in daily rides. And Ryan, you're an amazing inspiration. And I have to echo that. You are an amazing inspiration for sure.
That was it. Ken, is that what it's? Ken is
Kevin.
An inspiration.
Kevin. Yeah. Oh, Ken, and not Kevin in Boulder. It's Ken in Boulder. Yes,
Ken
absolutely.
in Boulder. Yeah, he's an inspiration. 200,000 miles in Boulder throughout a lifetime is incredible. I'm guessing he doesn't have a car either if he's riding those kind of miles, or maybe he does, but he focuses mostly on riding a bike, and I think that's awesome. And luckily, Boulder is the kind of city where you really can ride just about every day, even when it's snowy. You know, if you have the right gear. You can get out there.
Yeah, yeah. And I just want to do a sound check for everybody. Ryan, I can hear you great. I think you can hear me fine. I'm hoping everybody out there in the audience can. If somebody can just put a thumbs up in the comments or just let us know that you're able to hear both of us at about the same level. If one of us is a little lighter than the other, let me know and I'll adjust that in the gain for the microphones here. So we've got your page up here. We've got your YouTube channel identified, and we've got them sorted by newest to oldest here. This has been quite an amazing year for you. Every year's an amazing year for you. And so what was like when you look back on this year, 2024, what's the one or two things that really resonate for you as to what it's been like for you?
Yeah, I started off the year doing the final segment of the Baja Divide that I had never ridden. So it took me a lot longer to finish the Baja Divide bikepacking route than I thought it would. I went first in 2017 thinking I'd ride the whole thing in one go. Halfway through, it was just a little too hard. And so I bailed. 3 years later, I went back and did another, good chunk of it. At the end of that, my bike broke, my hub blew up, and so I couldn't continue. So this past year, I finally went and finished the Cape Loop, which is the very bottom tip of the Baja. Yeah. And I love that. I love Baja. I love Mexico. That route is amazing. It's quiet and desolate and just stunning. I love that desert and where it meets the ocean and the contrast and the colors and the people and the food. So that's how I started the year off, which was a great way to do it. I went on January 1st.
Getting us down here to these videos down towards the bottom here.
Yeah, there they are.
Boom, there it is. The Baja Divide. Yeah, the Cape Loop. Yeah. And so you were really kind of honed in at the beginning of the year to try to go back. You had a difficult time, like you said, you weren't able to complete that, and so you wanted to go back and have revenge on the fact that you had to abandon.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't like to leave unfinished business out there. Not that, it's vital that I finish every mile of every route that I do. When I ride my bike, it's really more of the experience. But I think it was just an excuse to keep on going back to Baja, which I truly love. Yeah. So I really enjoyed that trip, and it kind of got the year going off on a good foot. Yeah. And then I did an adventure in New Mexico with my friend, the Hiking Viking, who is now the Hiking Biking Viking. I love that route as well. I love New Mexico. I love riding in the deserts. And this year, I would say one of the biggest things that happened, which wasn't necessarily a good thing, and it especially wasn't in the moment, was giving the Tour Divide race a shot. I'm not really a bike racer. I run and race. I'm a much better runner than cyclist, actually. Yep. And I wanted to give give the Tour Divide a go, which is the 2,700-mile race from Banff all the way down to the border of Mexico along the Great Divide mountain bike route. And that experience really beat me up and spit me out. The first 7 days were cold and snowy and wet, and I developed horrible saddle sores. And I decided to quit. I decided to not continue out of not fear so much, but just looking out for my body and my health.
Right.
Which was a very hard decision in the moment because I'd been dreaming about this for years. All I wanted to do was race this route. Not that I was going to go fast or I was going to compete in any way. I was nowhere close to the fast people, but I just wanted to push myself and do something that I'd never done. And it was really hard after a short amount of time, just 7 days, to say, I'm done. Yeah. So that was a big time learning experience in many ways. I still am processing a lot of what occurred and how I can learn from this experience and maybe go back another day and try again. Who knows? But that was definitely a pivotal moment in my year, was the Tour Divide.
Yeah. And you did produce a wonderful and beautiful series of videos about that experience. And I know it was part therapy going through and editing those and getting those out there. But, you started it off with, right off the bat, before you really dove into the report, with this video, the reflections on failure and that tour experience. And I think it was really important for you to get that out there ahead of time before you dove into the steps. It kind of was a spoiler in the sense that anybody who's following you on social media knew that you had to abandon, chose to abandon wisely. But it's I think it really was powerful to hear in your own voice your processing those feelings. And I had to chuckle and laugh because then immediately after that final video that you did, you had the video of getting together with Ryan there to get a new saddle, because you're like, I'm going to figure this out. I don't ever want to have saddle sores again.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, okay, this was not fun at all. I've ridden my bike thousands of miles all around the world. I'd never really dealt with saddle sores before, so it's not something I ever thought of. But the conditions of the Great Divide were very wet. I was also sitting on my saddle for much longer than I typically do, because when I'm on an adventure, I'm not racing, so I don't care about riding my bike a certain amount of miles every day. And yeah, I was like, okay, we're going to find some solutions to this problem as quickly as I can.
Yeah. And I'll be sure to include a reference in the show notes later for this live stream to that particular video, because you did hone in on a saddle that worked for you. And Ryan, who I've known for, I think I first met Ryan in the year 2000. So that would have been 25 years ago. And he was a young whippersnapper, pro triathlete, wannabe back then. But he talks about the fact that you need to try a bunch of saddles to find the saddle that fits your physiology.
I get a lot of questions from people, even before this whole thing happened, people asking me what my favorite saddle is. Yeah. And I usually just use the stock saddles a lot of times, and they've worked just fine. But I also tell people, saddles are kind of like shoes. Not every shoe is going to fit everybody in the same way, just like a saddle is not. So the big lesson is to, if you can, try as many saddles as possible, and then you find one that fits your butt perfectly.
Yeah, fits your butt perfectly. We do have a question here from Jacob Bax, and so let's get this out here. Ryan, ever biked in Europe? I know the answer to this, but go ahead and share with Jacob.
I love Europe. First of all, Jacob, I lived in Sweden for a year when I was 18. It was a very influential year in my life, just looking at a country that really focuses on alternative transportation. Well, to them, it's not alternative. To us in the United States, it is. But, buses and trains and everybody riding bikes. And so I really saw a culture there in Sweden that was built around bike safety and people being able to ride their bikes to work and to the school. And it's just a normalized part of culture. Yeah. I remember I was in high school at the time, and, I would go out to parties with friends, and the girls would get all dolled up and looking good for a party, and they'd ride their bikes to a party, which in the United States is unheard of. at least in high school age. People are driving cars everywhere, especially if you've got all your makeup on, you got your hair looking great. But in Europe, or at least in Sweden, they don't care. It's just the way of life is riding your bike wherever you go. And obviously it's safer if you're drinking and all those other things. So Sweden was a very influential year in my life. I have biked in different parts of Europe, but last summer I did a really big ride from the very tippy top of Sweden above the Arctic Circle all the way down to the bottom of Sweden. And I got to see that beautiful country from top to bottom like I had never had before in my life. And of course, you know, when I travel to Europe, I've ridden in a lot of the major cities and stuff, but I would like to do more bike packing adventures in Europe.
Yeah. Well, it's funny too, because I've got your page back up, your YouTube channel back up, and so
Yeah.
we've got all the different episodes. I think it was what, gosh, a good solid 12
12 or
episodes or
13.
so.
Yeah.
12 or 13 episodes. The finale, I think, was episode number 13. And what an amazing experience. I know for you to be able to go back there and experience it from top to bottom, but I had to laugh with how much the mosquitoes were chasing you around.
The mosquitoes up north were something like I'd never experienced in my life. And people had told me, be careful of mosquitoes. And I was like, yeah, sure, it can't be that bad. They were that bad.
Yeah.
You know, usually when you're riding your bike, you're safe because the mosquitoes aren't getting you because you're going fast enough or whatever. But in Sweden, they come after you while you're riding your bike. So there is no safe spot ever. A lot of my bike tours, I'm riding and I'll stop and just stand over my bike and eat like a power bar or something. You can't do that either because if you stop, the mosquitoes just descend on you. So it was kind of crazy making where you never had a break. You could never just like take it easy and breathe because the mosquitoes were always on you.
Yeah, yeah. Well, hey, folks, keep those questions coming and rolling in. We certainly do appreciate it, and we do appreciate the thumbs ups that you're giving to the live stream. That really does help. Not only during the live stream here, YouTube will make sure that more people know about this happening, but it also helps with the video recording aspect of it later. Hey, so. Yeah, please let us know if you have any other questions, but I want to make sure that I give a shout out to your very most popular video of all time, right there, The Great Divide, 3.3 million views. This is a 2-hour extravaganza. Talk a little bit about this. This has got to be pretty cool to see something over 3 million views out there. What do you think really resonated with people about this video? And did it shoot out of the gate, like you knowing this is going to be your most popular video, or did it build over time?
I had no idea that this video would become as popular as it was. So I had already released like 35 or 40 episodes of my entire experience on The Great Divide. And up until this point on my channel, that's how I left it. I never really made like a recap video with everything all in one.
Right.
But this was a bit of an experiment. And this video is much different than the series. I cut out almost all of the talking and the interviewing. I cut out all of the music, so it's just natural sounds. So truly, it was an experiment. I had no idea. And I thought maybe it would do okay because, you know, it's The Great Divide and it's one of the most searched terms in the bike packing world because it's such a well-known route. But yeah, it went big right out of the gate, which was shocking to me. It really was. Hundreds of thousands of views in the first few days, which never happens on my channel. So somehow it got sucked into that YouTube algorithm and kept on getting suggested and suggested more and more. And now I think it's the most watched Great Divide video ever, which is kind of funny because I don't necessarily think it's my best work by any means. Right. It just somehow resonated with people. It's the kind of video they can turn on, and just kind of like sit back and not really have to pay a whole lot of attention to it. You can just kind of look at it back and forth. Maybe you're working at your desk and you look over and you see something beautiful and some drone shots. But this was a surprise for sure. And it definitely helped boost my channel back in 2020 or 2021. This video came out.
Yeah, this is 3 years ago. Yeah, that this one posted. I do want to bring this comment into the broadcast here so we can take a look at that. Number one, Brightonian says, I'm amazed at how you managed to ride thousands of miles carrying your camping gear plus food, clothes, and all your filming equipment. Brilliant. Big thumbs up on that for
Oh,
sure.
thank you so much. That means the world to me. I make these videos hoping that they resonate with people in some way, shape, or form. And so I love getting feedback like that because it
Yeah.
motivates me to keep on doing what I'm doing. And to be honest, camera equipment has gotten so small that it's really not that much of a burden anymore to carry all this stuff. It used to be back in the I've been making bike videos since 2005, where I would have like a
Right.
full-sized camcorder with me and big batteries and sometimes my laptop and all this other gear. That was heavy. Now, even with my drone and my Sony DSLR and my GoPro, it's really not that heavy. I mean, of
Right.
course, it adds up when you have all the batteries and cables and power banks and all that stuff, but it's not as much as you think. So don't be too impressed, is what I'm saying.
There's plenty of things to be impressed with about what you are able to accomplish. Because again, I mean, I think you may have mentioned it earlier. You have lived in Boulder pretty much your entire life, except for that time in the Peace Corps down in Honduras, and you've been car free because
Yeah.
you choose and prefer to get around Boulder, pretty much by your own 2 feet and or
Yep.
with your bike.
Absolutely. It's something that I truly believe in. Before I even started my YouTube channel, my goal was always to create content that would hopefully bring value to the world, and people would see it and get inspired or feel educated or whatever. And that was really my driving mission. It wasn't to make lots of money or anything. It was really just to say, hey, you know what? This is how I do life. And maybe this will inspire you to do something similar. Maybe not like give away your car completely, but just to think about riding your bike a little bit more often. And
Yeah.
I realize that not all cities are as bike friendly as Boulder is, but hopefully we're moving in the right direction now. And it seems like some cities are finally, I mean, you definitely know this, are deciding that, pedestrian infrastructure is quite important to a thriving community.
Yeah, yeah. Making your cities more conducive to active mobility, more walkable and more bikeable is such an important aspect of it. And that's what I really focus on with the Active Towns channel, is really trying to create inspiration and momentum amongst the cities and with advocates to want to be able to work towards being able to have a lifestyle like you live, being able to get
Yeah.
around to your meaningful destinations, walking, biking, using transit.
And at the end of the day, it's more fun, at least for me. I
Sure.
love getting on my bike. It feels good. You're getting exercise. If you see your neighbor on the street, you can stop and chat with them. Whereas if you're in a car, you're listening to a podcast or music and you're kind of, you're not really engaging with the world. But when you're on a bike or you're walking or taking public transport, you're more in contact with your community and your people.
Yeah, yeah.
And I love talking to random strangers. So it's for me to do that and breathe fresh air.
Yeah, yeah. It looks like your video feed is chopping up just a little bit, but we'll take a question in the meantime here. Jacob Bax is asking, have you ever thought of live streaming, similar to Hitch, who's somebody who does it out on Twitch, is a live streamer. He gets out on his bike and he live streams from his bike. My good friend Brandon Lust, the American Feetser, also does that. He has a nice setup on his Urban Arrow, and he's able to live stream directly into to YouTube, which is really super fun. Have you ever considered doing anything like that?
I didn't even know people did that. I need to watch more YouTube. Yeah, no, that would be super fun. That sounds a
Yeah,
lot easier than editing videos with 3 different cameras and everything. Just go with a live stream.
yeah, yeah. All right, I'm going to make you smaller since you're still pixelating on me here. I
Okay.
did want to highlight one of the cool things that you and Priority have been doing recently. You guys have been working on a special bike. I think that was one of the things that you said you would like to talk about today. Is that correct?
Yeah. So
Is
this
that
is
that? This is the one
exciting.
right here in the middle, right?
Yeah. So we decided, I have a signature bike that I helped create with
Hmm.
Priority years ago. It's called the 600X. It's my adventure bike. that I ride everywhere. Priority's whole mission is to create bikes that are low maintenance, so that no derailleurs, no chains. We always have carbon belt drives that never need lube. They last 3 times longer than chains, and some sort of internal gearing system.
Right.
So that's their whole thing with any bike that comes out with them. And we created this bike, the 600X, and it's awesome, but it's $3,500. And I realized that that's not possible for a lot of people. And we got some feedback saying, man, I'd love to have this bike, but it's just out of my range. So we decided, okay, let's make a bike that's still pretty darn good, but cheaper.
Right.
But still, a very quality machine. So this whole thing, these video series is about like polling the audience on what they think is most important as far as componentry. So it might be one of the first crowdsourced bicycles. I don't know. But we took in a lot of feedback from my viewers in creating this bike, which will be called the Bruiser.
Okay.
I don't know why it's called that. Maybe because it rhymes with Duzer.
I'm pretty sure that's the case.
Pretty sure that's it, huh? So yeah, we're making a bike that still has the pinion gearbox, which is the gold standard, really. And this bike will be about $2,000, so $1,500 cheaper than my 600X. So we're really excited about this. And we've asked the audience for feedback on everything from components to geometry and now to the color scheme. So the most recent video was about what color should this bike be?
Yeah. Fantastic. That's good stuff.
And surprising to me, we had like a bunch of colors mocked up to show in the video. And they were like traditional earth tony colors. And I thought one of those colors would win. And I threw in this pumpkin color just for fun. And that one is by far the overwhelming winner.
Wow.
So we're going to make an orange bike because I guess that's what the people want.
A bold statement from the Bruiser Duzer fans.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite video from this year of your mix of videos?
Wow,
I know it's kind of hard to ask. It's sort of like asking a parent to pick their favorite child. But I mean, is there one that really means the most to you?
I think the most heartfelt, meaningful video was the one about the Tour de Ride. Mm-hmm. And it was about failure and how to accept failure and learn from failure and what is failure. Maybe this isn't even a failure.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not a failure.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was, I think it resonated with a lot of people. It resonated with me. It resonated, if I remember correctly, it had 76,000 views, something along those lines. I think it's further
up there
up
a
this
little
way.
bit. I just saw it right down a little bit, down,
Down,
a little bit more. One
there
more.
It is.
There it is. Reflections on Failure, my Tour de Ride experience.
71,000 views. I think that was probably one of my favorites this year of yours as well. But I think the one that really made me smile was your RAGBRAI. You mashed up RAGBRAI into one mega mix. And what it really made that special for me was because I knew how much you wanted to get back out on the bike.
Yeah.
And so it was your next on bike video that you produced after that. And so it was good to get you back out on the bike, especially on the bike for a week straight.
Yeah, it really was. Because after the Tour de Ride, I was wounded physically and mentally.
Right.
I was like, oh man, like, am I getting too old for this? I'm 45 years old now. Like, what does this mean? It really, my confidence took a big hit for sure.
Right.
And so RAGBRAI is a nice soft landing because it's 500 miles, but it's a lot of fun and it's not a race and you can go whatever speed you want. And it's on pavement, which is very easy compared to dirt going up and down mountains. And I love this event. The humanity involved with RAGBRAI it's some of the best I've ever experienced as far as the people that do it, the people you meet along the way. It's just so wholesome and fun. I always tell people that you see the best of humanity on RAGBRAI. I mean, there's 20,000 plus people who do the ride. And then we're going through all these charming little Iowa towns where you meet more wonderful people. So for me, RAGBRAI isn't so much a bike experience, but a human experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
And pizza, as you can see right there. Casey's
and
Gas
pizza.
Station's pizza.
Yeah.
I love that.
I mean, it's an experience, and it's the stories, and it's the people you meet, and I think that that's one of the most encouraging and uplifting things about this particular video and all of that. So, yeah, I think it's pretty amazing. This was my favorite of the year, just because it marked
Yeah.
your comeback after
Thanks.
being so beat down. So.
Yeah, thank you, man. I really appreciate it. And people like you and my other audience members were so supportive and kind. And I got lots of just loving messages after the Tour Divide because it knocked me down in many ways. I was pretty bummed out. I would say I hadn't been that bummed out in a very long time.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
RAGBRAI built me right back up, and all the wonderful comments from people like you and my other viewers. So YouTube is kind of like a one-way thing. I make videos and put them on YouTube, but really,
Right.
When you build up a community like I have, luckily, like I have people out there that care about me and care about how I'm doing, and it
Right.
really makes me feel like I'm part of something bigger than just a YouTuber putting out videos into the world.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, speaking of YouTubers and people putting things out in the world, we've got our good friend Clarence Eckerson Jr. with Street Films. He has just
Yay!
dialed in. Get on in here, Clarence. There you are.
What's
How
up,
you
my
do?
man?
How you doing, buddy?
Hey, I thought this was going to be a burrito thing, not a holiday thing. So I brought some burritos to eat. They're our little guys. They got
Ooh,
some,
maybe someday you
yum.
can pass the burrito through the camera.
Yeah. There you
That's what
go.
Oh, you
to
have
do.
multiple burritos. You're lucky.
Oh,
My kid was going to come and eat
And
one
it has
of these, but
eyeballs on it.
yeah, you guys see it's got eyeballs on top. Wait, where is it?
Oh,
It's
that's
hard
from
to know
that
where the
game,
camera
Throw
is.
Throw Burrito.
Yeah, burrito. There he is. So,
I love that
yeah,
game.
he's there. Yeah, here's
good,
the other one.
good stuff. Clarence,
He
thank
knows
you
them
so
at
much
the moment.
for joining us, my friend.
Oh, you're welcome. It's actually snowing here in New York right now.
Ah, it's
Wow.
snowing in New York.
It's
Fantastic.
not sticking.
It's not sticking,
Something
huh?
as years go on, we're going to probably have to get used to. Snow doesn't stick too much anymore.
Yeah.
Not like it used to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So.
let's not be a bummer.
Well, again, thank you so much for popping in to say hi here, Clarence. And yeah, let's. In fact, I'm going to pop on over to your YouTube channel so that we can take a look at that and share this with the audience. But in the meantime, Clarence, I'll just turn this over to you. Why don't you introduce yourself? Who the heck is Clarence Eckerson Jr.?
Well, I am Clarence Eckerson Jr., and I have been making video content. Me and Ryan have been doing about the same, right around the same time. It was like me, Ryan, and Mark Wagenborough from Bicycle Dutch.
Yep.
Seemed to be the only three right there at the beginning for a while, and then
Yeah.
so. And I've been doing it for a long time. I've done well. On January 1st, I'll be debuting my 1,111th video.
Right.
So I kind of saved that because it'll all be ones, kind of. So yeah, I'm just doing a lot of content out there, kind of, much more popular in years past, as we all know, we're all getting older. Well, actually, John, you're getting more popular as you get older, but a lot of we now have these people who love to do half-hour commentaries about a particular subject, and back when we started, nobody wanted to see us that long. And now
Right.
everybody will listen to somebody talk about light rail for 30 minutes on one street in Belgium or something. It's just weird to watch that happen over all the years. Watch, you had to have your own hosted site, then it went to YouTube, but then Vimeo came along, and Vimeo was higher quality. Then YouTube said, "Oh, we can't let that happen," so they changed, and so it's been kind of interesting to watch it all happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, you mentioned Mark Valkenburg, of course, with Bicycle Dutch. And the last time that you and I saw each other there, Clarence, we were together with Mark in
Right.
Ghent in Belgium for the Velocity Conference. And I was delighted to have that opportunity to get the two of you on bike and do something that I've been doing recently, which is a lot of on bike interviews. So that was a hoot.
That was honestly, I still am blown away by that video. I mean, it was like really nice, the way it all edited together and how smooth it was, and you know, didn't prepare at all. Matter of fact, we didn't. We knew that you wanted to get us together, and we just all happened in the same spot. And you're like throwing mics on us, and I'm like, "What's this thing?" You know, I'm like kind of a luddite when it comes to technology. And you're putting, yeah, took this. It's a magnet, goes through your shirt, and it's on, and it was a lot of fun. I mean, I think Mark really enjoyed it too.
Yeah,
So
no, it was very special for
I'm all
me.
for anytime. If you need me to go anywhere, I'll do that. I'll do that with all three of us. You know, I'll come out to the Midwest somewhere, and we can do that.
Well, and actually, years before I did the YouTube channel, I actually one of my first videos I ever produced was of Ryan on bike, up on the trails right outside, right behind your old house that you had.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember you filmed it with the original DJI Osmo.
Yep, the original one. Yeah, the big one.
That the big one, yeah. Well, let's get Clarence out here because Clarence, the first time I ever met you was in Boulder in like
Yes.
2006. I think you were here working with the
Yeah,
city.
I was out there, and yeah, that was great. I'll never forget is the prairie dogs.
The prairie dogs, yes, in Boulder. Yeah, yeah. Well,
Riding
hey,
on
we
trails, like, you know, seeing prairie dogs like popping up everywhere. Whoop!
It's like whack-a-mole, like those little beep,
they
beep, beep,
pop
little
up.
arcade
Yeah,
game. They pop out of their holes.
I guess
Well,
it's kind
hey,
of like, you know, pigeons in New York. We don't care about pigeons. We see them so much. It must be the same way after a while for you guys.
exactly. I'm scrolling through
Oh, look.
your videos here, Mr. Clarence, and I want to ask you the same question that I asked Ryan, which is, do you have a favorite video from the past 12 months that you have produced that, is really something that, has resonated for you, either just personally or because of the way that people in your audience has responded to it?
Well, I think the most important thing, it's funny, you just happen to have the two I would mention, the Paris school streets thing, because it's just so vitally important for
Right.
the movement everywhere. People are using that film, they're citing it. There still has not been another Paris school streets video. I mean, people do plenty of presentations and
Right.
photos or little video clips, but nobody like kind of really put it together. So that's one I would mention. But the one I really love the most from this is the revisit to Utrecht with
Hmm.
Mark,
Right.
because my family's in the video too, and they got to see what I saw years ago.
Yeah.
And so that's I always like that film. I like that one a lot now for
Yeah.
this year.
This one right here, right?
Yeah, that one. It's just oh, and look, there's me and Mark,
Yeah. There you go.
and you know, my kid's in it a lot. He's over, you know, he gets to check out how they restored the canal back to its real form. Oh, there's my wife. This is so
Yeah.
nice.
It's the whole fam.
I hope
I
you're
love it.
some can reuse it, show my kids. But yeah, so yeah, it
Yeah.
was a good video. It was, and there's the restored canal, which you have what 8 lanes of traffic down there, and then 12 overall for the whole corridor.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. And I was able to spend 3 weeks in Utrecht this summer. And so I got to hang out in that area quite a bit there and really enjoy that scene. I think, Ryan, you've hung out in the Netherlands a bit before. Is that correct?
Yeah, I've been a few different places in the Netherlands, mostly
Okay.
Amsterdam when I was back filming
Okay.
like tourism videos for TripAdvisor.
Right. Right.
And I definitely rode a lot of bikes in that city, which is so much fun because it's different than anything, obviously, here in the United States. Even a bike friendly city like Boulder, Amsterdam is light years ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
That
you
is
know,
so true.
I find when I go to places like that, I find myself just, you know, especially if I'm by myself, I don't know why, but I just kind of laugh at like how amazing it is. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, you know, we have some places in New York that are starting to get very heavily trafficked with bikes, but it is not as peaceful because we have a lot of electric bikes. We have a lot of traffic and incursions into the lane, even where we've double widened a few of the avenues now, bike lanes, which are great. But it never still feels like it does when you're in Amsterdam or Paris or Barcelona or any of these great cities.
Yeah. So we do have a question here for you, Clarence. Let's pop back over to the page here, but let's pull the question up. It's from Chemo, and Chemo is asking about the 34th Street transformation, and yeah, what about that 34th Street transformation? Pretty amazing, right?
Yeah, Chemo, hello, by the way. I know Chemo is doing a cross country trip, some of it by helping deliver is it a truck or a large van going north from the West Coast somewhere, I think. And anyway, I've been following every post that he puts up about the interesting people he meets, and he was in Texas and all these other places. So, but 34th Avenue, and you can see right there, yeah, 34th Avenue is just this really unique place here in New York City, in Queens, and it happens to be, almost right outside my door. Been very fortunate that a lot of things have kind of happened really cool where I live, but it's been just kind of magic because this is 26 blocks of car free, not all car free, but 26 blocks of a slower street or parts that have like school streets, plaza blocks, so that there's no through traffic anymore. If you see somebody in a car on one of the blocks, it's because they're parking or going to a garage. So you can see here, this is a project that started happening this year. They have these concrete blocks to kind of, dissuade people from coming through quickly, and it slows people down. And then they decided a group for Paseo Park, which is also what they call 34th Avenue corridor. They had 26 artists come out and decorate all these blocks, and just really cool designs. And that's our local councilman right there, Shaker Krishnan, who helped fund this, and that's Dawn Siff, who also is a very, very big part of all this happening. So it's a great thing. It really, like, every time people come to visit, even when Mark Wagenborough came, we had to do it in the rain, but he came on out and saw it for himself. And it's just enjoyed by thousands of people. And it all happened because of COVID, really, because in May of 2020, they decided, people need to get out and be able to be active. So they closed down 26 blocks of a busy street in both directions, 1.3 miles. So anyway, that's thanks for that question, Keith.
I want to go there right now. It looks amazing.
Well, next time you come to New York, come on out. Especially during school dismissal, it's the most amazing thing. There's just kids just walking, and they sit on the blocks, and in the morning, sometimes you see them out, like, copying each other's homework, every once in a while, sitting on these things. And it just makes for a really nice gathering spot all day long.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the artwork. This is a great video.
And
next year, this one's cool. This one was somebody did the entire street grid. I don't think it was finished by the time I was done filming. But I'll actually send you guys photos of what that block looks like now. It's pretty darn cool. Oh, that's most of it almost done. It's on all sides.
Cool. Nice.
A lot of people tend to run and try to figure out either where they are, because it doesn't have the street names or numbers or anything. It just is kind of, you have to figure out where you are or where your house is and stuff. This guy did a giant boom box and
a
really
DJ
cool
table.
So,
I like it.
Little DJ table, and there I am shooting with the DJI too.
Oh man.
There you go. Whole new world there. Yeah. And Gary, is saying, hey, there's so much great and inspirational bike videos out there to inspire us. Yeah, absolutely. And these two gentlemen have been wonderful in mentoring me and inspiring me and encouraging me to get out there and find my own audience and niche on that. I really do appreciate it. What I really enjoy about this particular video, and these types of videos too, Clarence and Ryan, you can both relate to this, is just how the community really comes together with it, and how it's really lighter, quicker, cheaper materials. It's like, this is not like super planned out in the sense that, the city's coming in and ripping everything out. This is really taking what you have, bringing artists in, making it colorful, and trying to do things quickly. And so that's one of the things that I'm really inspired by a lot of these installations. It's just how quickly we can try to transform what was previously just car dominated space and make them more people oriented.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
love
and I
this.
think the plan art they're going to change the blocks every year, like to have new sets of artists every year to them. And it's held up pretty good because this was they started in March of '8, and we're almost at the end of the year, and they all look pretty good still. And it's kind of also good because some of the blocks were just painted with generic colors, some of them tagged or get some things on them, but not the ones that are physically painted with art, like. So the
Right.
whole idea is like, well, let's do them all. Like, see somebody sitting on just a green one there. So
Yeah. Yeah. That's good stuff. And we also have another little comment here that I want to pull up, and it's kind of channeling back to what we were talking about earlier with Utrecht. And it's really, if only everywhere in the world could have the same sort of cycling infrastructure as they have in Holland, it would be heaven. And what's really encouraging that I'm seeing, being in this sort of industry of trying to transform our built environment, over the last 20 some odd years now, is that we are making progress, even though it seems a little bit slower. Clarence, you've been in the trenches of this bicycle advocacy world for a long, long period of time. And you've been documenting that progress as well as a videographer and filmmaker. What do you think about this? I mean, are cities are we getting there? Are we becoming a little bit more user friendly from a people perspective and making things more walkable and bikeable and more public space for people?
definitely, some of the biggest cities are really doing a lot of work. It's funny. For the last 6 videos I put on my site have a lot of before and after shots of what we've been doing in New York, places that
Yeah.
had no bike lane
Yeah.
to now having really good ones, or ones that had narrow bike lanes where they doubled the width and they added bike parking and daylighting so that the turning is a little bit safer for bikes and peds. So I think it's happening in New York. It seems to suddenly, we got a weird thing going on with our mayor and all this other stuff. There's always, it's funny for a city with 8 point whatever million people. It seems like the best mayor we've had in the 30 plus years I have been here is Michael Bloomberg. And you're like, a lot of people are like, oh, he was a businessman, not great. And I'm like, yeah, but look at all the other people we've had. He seemed to do a pretty good job.
Yeah.
So, I think that New York City, our Department of Transportation really accelerated this year. Maybe not in the number of lane miles, but like the kind of treatments and things they're working on and curbs and all this other stuff. So I think, and a lot of cities are doing really good. I think that in New York City, we just need to do more and fast. Just cut the bullshit, and just they've done a lot more of like, we're installing this two-way bike lane and it's coming now, like we need to do that everywhere. So I think that's what I would say.
Yeah. And I'm just putting a question or a comment here in the chat, and I'll just say it out loud to everybody too, is if you have any other questions for our panel here, it's more than 2 people, so it's got to be a panel, right?
Yeah, this is official.
This is official. Yeah, let us know if you have any other questions for us as we're going through. And one question that I do have for you, Clarence and Ryan, is is there a video that you've produced in the last year or so that just hasn't done as well as you thought it would?
I would say all of my videos.
Mhm.
There's something going on with YouTube this year, and it's not just me. I've heard it from other creators, but numbers are way down across the board.
Okay.
The algorithm has changed. It used to be you subscribe to a certain amount of channels and you would be fed those videos. Now you get fed a whole bunch of stuff that you don't subscribe to. And so it's getting jumbled up. And so a lot of my subscribers, even though I have 200,000, are not seeing my videos when they're released.
Right.
So I'd say that's been one of the most frustrating things this year. And it's hard because it's like, I can't just call up somebody at YouTube and say, what am I doing wrong? You have to figure it out on your own, essentially. So for me, I just keep on creating content that I think is quality. I just put it out into the world and hope it does well. But across the board, my channel numbers are way down over last year.
Yeah. How about you, Clarence?
I would totally agree with that. I mean, I got to say my numbers have been up this year, but they've been historically down, way down in some cases since COVID started.
Mm-hmm.
And, I've kind of assigned that to the fact that, there was a handful of people doing transportation, bike videos and stuff. Now it seems like every city has got like their one or two people, and then there's people like City Nerd and all these other people, and I think that it's been kind of diluted between a lot of people. I think that's one reason, but I do agree. There's some times where like every once in a while, work will pay for us to energize a video a little bit.
Right.
They're like, oh, you can. This is a really important video. Here's $50. We'll get an extra 3,000 or 4,000 people to watch because it's important, 5,000 or whatever. But then I think there's something going on with the money. Just like there is with Twitter X. Is the feeds are being corrupted and changed, and I think and even Facebook. I mean, I remember when you didn't see an ad on Facebook except maybe the second post for like 10 or 15 posts in a row. Now you see sometimes an ad every other post. So I think that has something to do with it.
Yeah. Now you mentioned Twitter /X. I've left Twitter X completely, and I'm over on Blue Sky. Blue Sky has really taken off just in the last month. And so, Ryan, I know that you've created your account over there. I've been tagging you on the post for this live stream. Do encourage you to get active out there as well. We've got a really cool environment. Clarence, what's your take on the environment that we're seeing over on Blue Sky right now?
I like it a lot. I mean, I was on Threads. I've been on a couple other ones, but Blue Sky seems like that's the one that's be the rival, and to Twitter X. And so, I like it. I think I've made some inroads to groups of people that I haven't before because they have these starter packs. I don't know if you're familiar with that, Ryan, but like somebody really big and famous, like a Brent Dodoyan or something, will be like, "Here's 25 people you should follow." And I usually go through and I'm like, oh, that's a good person. I don't have that person. But they have a button that just says follow all. And that is just amazing. You can just see the numbers. So I've already announced that I'm leaving my personal account on Twitter X. And I feel like if I got enough people, even if it's like a quarter or half of the number of followers that I have on Twitter, on Blue Sky, I would leave Twitter as well sometime next year. But can't leave everything all.
Yeah, I got off completely, and you're absolutely right. Those starter packs have been amazing, and Ryan, that's something I'll ping you on one of them or tag you or something like that. It's a really wonderful thing. I mean, I'm almost at 10,000 followers on Blue Sky now.
Yeah, you're wow. Yeah,
and that's just really, really surprising that because I don't work it to try to do that. I mean, that's not why I'm doing it. I mean, I'm just out there to try to share the message and really kind of hopefully encourage people to, pop on over. Chemo does have a question for us here. So let's get this out here. Chemo is asking about, the fact that it looks like the YouTube algorithm is driving towards shorts, and the question is are you guys tinkering around with doing shorts?
I've played a little bit around with shorts. I haven't found a lot of success with it. I feel like if people find a short on YouTube, they'll watch it and maybe they'll come subscribe, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they want to watch long videos. They just want to watch short videos. So I haven't found shorts to really drive anything. And I've put a lot of work into them this year, but I'm still up in the air about shorts.
Yeah. How about you, Clarence?
And I've always been like a person that if I go somewhere it's a really serious topic, I might be between like a 5 and 10 minute video, but I also will sometimes excerpt things, or like a lot of these latest before and afters, they're all less than 2 minutes long. Some only a minute long. So
right.
I just throw the stuff up there, and sometimes it's so funny that I used to tell everybody it used to be predictable films would do good. It was like anything from overseas in the Netherlands about biking.
Right.
Um, and everything else was like a crapshoot. You know, there were films that I'd be like, "Oh, this film is going to do. Everybody's going to want to watch this." Even I felt that way about the School Streets film in Paris. You know, it's a little over 20,000, and it's probably double that on all the other places I have it. But I was like, "This is the kind of film that like a million people need to see," and you know,
Yeah.
who knows why that is? Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah. As we sort of bring our time to a close here, gents, is there anything that we want to promote or pitch, or sort of closing messages?
I
Ryan,
think we should sing Christmas carols.
sing Christmas carols.
On,
actually, we do have a legitimate question from the audience here. Colleen wants to know, Ryan, where and when is your next biking trip going to be?
That's funny because I was going to ask Ryan where's he going next also. So
there you go. Well, Colleen served it up.
All right, I don't know. Sorry to have such a disappointing answer. I really don't know. I'm still trying
usually last year you had you wanted to get down to Mexico, and you wanted to get down there in January to do that.
Yeah.
So I would not be surprised if the mood strikes you, and the next thing we know, you're on a plane or heading somewhere warm and dry.
Yeah, that's if I go anywhere, obviously it's going to be somewhere warm. So I'm trying to put something together. I've had a little bit of failure to launch recently, and just getting the motivation to get up and get out there. But I need to take my own medicine and do it. Stay tuned.
Have you done like northeast, like ride from Maine to Florida? Have you ever done that?
I did that way back in 2008. Yeah, went from Maine to Key West.
It's kind of really interesting now to see how much, like, some of these cities. I was just on the New York State Empire Trail with Paul Steely White, who's the executive director of Parks and Recreation, who used to be the head of Transportation Alternatives, and it's just amazing to see, like, this thing is really starting to take shape. You can ride pretty safely now.
The East Coast Greenway goes all the way down, supposedly. That'd be a cool one to try out.
Yeah, and then you could meet different people in different cities, and they could shoot video you. I would if you came here, like
right
24th Avenue, or you could do your thing, which is always so much better than anything.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to turn that question right around over to you, Clarence. So we'll channel what Colleen had asked and turn it towards you. Do you know where you're going to be going next to profile? Do you have anything, kind of looking forward towards 2025? Any cities that you're going to go to profile?
With the work and what people are like, kind of what's the thing we want best for New York or other cities. So right now it looks like it has a new traffic circulation plan. I've never been there, but much like Ghent and Groningen,
right.
They're trying that out, and they're in the that might be good. And a lot of people also are talking about London as usual. London always has a lot of good stuff going on, whether it's the bike superhighway. I don't know if they changed the name on them. I don't know what that is like now. But those continuing, and they have traffic neighborhoods and all kinds of other great stuff. And then finally, one thing I'm definitely going to this year, maybe Ryan, we could get you to go there. NACTO organizations having their conference in DC this year at the end of May, 2025, at the end of May. And I think that's going to be huge for so many reasons, especially the state of the country is going to be probably very interesting about transportation then, and need some real boost. So I think those are what the three places I'm going to be.
Yeah. And I have no idea where I'm going. I don't have any idea where I'm going. I probably won't travel internationally this year. It's probably going to be more domestically. One of the ideas that I've had, and I've been kicking this around, and I've done some research on it, is the possibility of doing an Amtrak with my Brompton and just go and then get off and see what I can see and film and try to do some on-bike interviews with some mayors and other folks. So stay tuned. That I may have to do a fundraiser to pay for that. So yeah, maybe the Amtrak tour all around North America will be 2025.
I'll throw some money
Is that
your
like-
way.
Yeah, is that like the kind of like Amtrak? You could do a monthly ticket, and then you could just do a lot much cheaper.
Yeah, unfortunately, Amtrak doesn't have anything quite like what Europe has. Like you can actually buy. In fact, this past summer, I was there for 60 days, and I bought a 2-month Eurail pass, which meant I had unlimited trips across the entire network. And occasionally you have to reserve a seat for a little bit more on certain trains, but other than that, you can just travel all over, and that's exactly what I did during that 60-day period. Amtrak doesn't have anything quite like that. At least when you want to be able to get on and off and spend a day or two and all that kind of stuff. So, but that's okay. We'll make do with what they do have and have some fun with it. So I'll keep you two posted.
Amtrak, are you listening? Funding.
Funding. Well, guys, we're going to have to bring this to a close. I mean, we are at the top of the hour. I know you both have lots of stuff that you need to do today. Again, thank you so much for joining me on this 4th annual Duzer holiday special here. It is a Duzer of an Active Towns holiday special.
Thanks for making this happen every year. I love you, John and Clarence, and throw me one of those burritos. I'll catch it.
Boom, boom. Hey, thanks everybody for tuning in. We really do appreciate you, tuning in to these three guys just kind of goofing off or whatever. Happy holidays to everybody, however you celebrate this season. And again, thank you so very much. Be sure to give the video a thumbs up down below. And if you're not already subscribed to these fine gents, pop on over. Here's that Street Films again. Please subscribe to the channel and Duzer's channel as well. Again, thank you both so very much for joining me on the Active Towns holiday.
Jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell rock.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, everybody.
All right,
All right, bye now.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.
Cheers. Woohoo.